Hey guys, what's up? So, I was gonna go Facebook Live for this, but I don't think my thoughts are organized enough to do so. So, there is this very interesting dynamic happening in the world right now. This masculine versus feminine dynamic. And frankly, it's concerning because there's no harmony in it, or very little harmony in it. You know, we're seeing an influx of women rising to a more powerful place within themselves and within society, and that's a magnificent thing. It's something we've been fighting for feels like thousands of years, to finally be seen and heard. And there are men who are super on board with this, and that's such a beautiful thing. But the polarity is a little bit off. Women seem to think that because we're rising into our more powerful selves and because we're finally being heard, that we get to be, or should be, both masculine and feminine, and sort of rule out the middleman, or the man, so to speak. And I'm just a little bit disturbed by what that looks like. That's just not how polarity works. There is masculine and there is feminine, and there's both within us, but you can't really be both to an extreme at the same time. You can be balanced, but there is also a purpose behind masculine and feminine being sort of embodied in two separate types of bodies. So what I'm seeing on the women's side is, we're so powerful, we don't need men, blah, blah, blah. And where are all the good men? Why can't I find a good man? All the good men are taken. Like, where's the chivalry? Why is it dead? Whatever, I don't need them anyway. And then what I'm seeing on the men's side is a silent protest, right? Because men want to support us, and they want to feel good, and they want to feel supported, and they want to feel masculine. And we're not really letting them. So this silent protest of chivalry. I'm not going to get the door, you got it, right? I'm not going to get this dinner, you got it, right? You're a big old feminist. You got it, we can split this. You want to pay? You've got the rent this month, right? I'm not saying that there's not, like, obviously there's balance, paying bills, that's not really the point. The point of this is the silent protest from the men to not show up, comes from the women saying, hey, stop showing up. But what the men don't really hear is, wait, why are men not showing up? So it's this vicious cycle, and it's really not working for anybody. Nobody's comfortable in it. And I'm seeing a lot of the ramifications of unhealthy childhoods coming forward as well, specifically in men. Like millennials now coming into parenthood are raising their children a little bit differently. I'm not saying what's better, what's worse. I don't have children, but I have studied conscious parenting and done doula training and midwife training, and I have to say that I'm seeing an influx of men and women who were not taught how to love. They didn't see love, they didn't see intimacy, their eyes were shielded in love scenes, but they were allowed to watch violence. We're not really in a super loving society. And for the people who have done the work and the people that show up in a more loving space, there's a lot of ramifications for those people because they're not met with the same ideas or the same feelings. So just, if you were raised in that sort of environment, I'm so sorry that you didn't see love, feel love, witness love, if you weren't born of love. I highly encourage you to do the work and come into a space of more love for yourself and for the planet and for your future offspring. Because you don't ever want to have to turn to your child one day and say, I'm so sorry, I'm just not capable of being loving today. Nobody wants that, and I'm sure you don't want it either. So, you know, also with masculinity, I'm still seeing those men who are saying, hey, men aren't supposed to cry. Hey, man up. Boys will be boys. Boys will not be boys. Boys will be held accountable for their inappropriate actions the same way that girls will be held for their inappropriate actions. We have to stop making excuses for people. And we also have to stop repressing people. You know, we're saying don't cry, don't have emotions, man up. And where does that go? When your emotions are inside of you and they're building up and bubbling and there's no place to go, you act out. You lose it. It's violent and it's dangerous because humans have emotion, humans have feeling. So I'm so sorry to the masculine and the men that were told that they weren't allowed to feel, because that is just not true. If we look back 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, if a woman was being harassed in public, if a woman was being treated bad, a voice being raised, a hand being raised, whatever it was, all the men in the room would get up and do something about it. Nobody minded their own business in that case because it's wrong. But now we live in a space where everyone's minding their business and nobody gets up, and they let it happen. They let the abuse happen. And I'm just wondering, aren't you guys fathers or brothers or uncles? Aren't there any women in your life or young girls in your life that if you saw them being treated that way, would you rise? Would you do something about it? This is the place where we're going. You know, everyone wants to mind their own business, but we're also not in any position to keep being quiet. Like Oprah said in her beautiful speech the other night, we need to create a more conscious planet so that nobody ever has to say me too ever again. And we've all said me too. And we've all shared stories, and I guarantee you that there are thousands of more that, you know, haven't. And that the stories haven't come out. I think I shared 1 or 2 stories when I could probably tell 1,000 times where I was harassed, grabbed, I mean, the list goes on, harassed, and nobody did anything. People that have daughters, people that have sisters, they just let it happen. Women that just sat there and went, you're overreacting. Let them hold you down. Stop screaming or having a panic attack. Nothing's happening. It's fine. You're fine. I don't want my daughter to ever have to say me too. But we have to rise we have to raise our vibration. We have to rise to a different consciousness, because the way that we're living, you can't mind your own damn business in this case. You gotta step up. And women, stop tearing men down for trying to be chivalrous and trying to be a man. You want to know where all the men are going? They're throwing their hands up and going, I guess you got it. You don't need me anymore. And that's just not true. We may be able to get it ourselves and we can pay our own bills and we can be independent, but that doesn't mean that we don't need partnership. That doesn't mean that it doesn't take 2 to tango to procreate and populate this planet. Granted, we're overpopulated, but you get my point. I'm tired of having the arguments with people who are defending toxic behavior. I'm tired of having the arguments with people who won't even look at themselves. Not truly. I'm tired of the arguments with people who don't understand that self-love is anything that they're allowed to feel. You ask a woman about their body, more often than not, they're going to be like, meh, it's alright. Being a woman's hard. My period sucks. Men look at me a certain way. Sometimes it's a curse. Instead of being like, man, I feel super honored. Being a woman's amazing. I love the way men look at me. We gotta shift. We gotta go into a different dynamic. We gotta fucking take care of each other, man, because this planet and this humanity, it's got no chance if we don't. At this point, I'm just rambling. But I think you guys get the point. Be good to each other. Be harmonious. And if you're feeling beat down by the opposite sex, man or woman, rise above it. Choose love. It's always more rewarding.